The following program is intended for mature audiences.
What do you say we have a rock and roll party?
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg,
Mike.
And you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Zach, before we get started, I just have to real quick talk a little Wrestlemania with Mike, and then I promise we'll move past it.
Okay.
So, Mike, explain to me, I mean, I know about Undertaker's done, right? He shouldn't be coming back.
He was supposed to have his retirement match last year at WrestleMania against Roman Reigns.
Right.
But people legitimately hate Roman Reigns. And so what happened was when Roman Reigns won and retired The Undertaker, fans did not take that too well.
Oh, I don't take to that well at all. He can't go out and listen to fucking Roman Reigns.
And so they are bringing him back to have presumably one more match with John Cena, because John Cena and Undertaker kind of, like on John Cena's first night in the WWE, he like had a moment on the show with The Undertaker where The Undertaker gave him props for his first match, and that was before anyone knew that John Cena was going to be a big star. So it's kind of one of those stories, and it should be better received than Roman Reigns beating him up for like 15 minutes before pinning him, because that was just a really not a great match.
Why would they do that? I mean, granted, I don't follow it very closely, but I know enough to know that Undertaker, and correct me if I'm wrong, is one of the most popular wrestlers of all time.
I would say he is the only universally loved wrestler left. Like everyone has their favorites. Everyone has their least favorites. For example, just to give an example, Charles, friend of the show, Charles, asked in the Basically Sports Show thread on the Kramer boards, hey, what are your opinions on Daniel Bryan, finally being cleared to wrestle? That's a whole thing. But Daniel Bryan, very popular, right. One of the most popular wrestlers. Like, I personally don't care for him. He's just not my cup of tea. It's just not really what I enjoy.
Yeah, I read your post. I thought it was very well said.
Thank you. But The Undertaker, so that's just kind of an example of how polarizing wrestling can be in the current situation. Like it's very fractured, and it's almost kind of like baseball, right? Where like you have your favorites, but anything that's not your favorite, you tend to zone out, and so The Undertaker is kind of like the last wrestler left who everyone legitimately likes, and like it's almost universal. Like no one hates The Undertaker. No one even thinks The Undertaker is okay. Like everyone just loves The Undertaker because he is, quite frankly, awesome. And so retiring him to Roman Reigns, who people despise, did not go over super well. I was at the SmackDown that the live SmackDown that was, both filmed and aired 2 days after WrestleMania last year. It was in Orlando, and it was kind of a spur of the moment thing because I was just getting used to the idea that I was living in Florida. And so I realized, like, holy shit, I could make it to one of the two post WrestleMania shows, because those are always crazy because it's just a bunch of hyped up wrestling fans. And what happened was I couldn't get into the Raw after WrestleMania, on the night immediately after WrestleMania, but I could get a ticket to SmackDown on Tuesday. And so I went, and it was a good show, but Roman Reigns wasn't even there because he's on Raw, not SmackDown. But when they started showing the highlights from WrestleMania, like the entire arena booed in unison anytime Roman Reigns like showed up on the big screen. Like he is not liked, to put it mildly. And I guess they figure, as long as Undertaker, is willing to come back for one more match, why not try to make it up to the fans, I guess, is the rationale.
But here's my question. And I think they maybe they don't agree with it, maybe they don't like it, but they have to know that Roman Reigns is not a popular wrestler. And if you're going to bring Taker back and have his retirement match, okay, let him wrestle Roman Reigns. I'm fine with that. But wouldn't it have been smarter to let him just kick the daylights out of Roman Reigns and move on from there? Or does that hurt Roman Reigns and whatever storyline they're trying to do with him down the road?
Roman Reigns is going to be fine because WWE, even though Roman Reigns gets booed everywhere he goes, WWE is never going to give up on him, and so that wouldn't hurt Roman Reigns. The reason why Undertaker would never lose to Roman Reigns in his retirement match is, by all accounts, the Undertaker, Mark Calloway, the guy who plays the character, is a very old school kind of guy, and his attitude tends to be you lose on your last match out. Like that's what, like, when doesn't matter if you're leaving the company or just retiring, like your last match out, you lie down for whoever you're fighting to put them over.
Okay, I didn't know that. Well, that's
so like that is what, so that in and of itself is fine. The problem, I guess I'm saying, is that they never should have had Undertaker fight Roman Reigns in his retirement match anyway. Like, that was the big problem that they forced themselves into. If he loses to Cena, fans will be able to stomach that a little bit better. Yeah, Cena got over the crowds organically. His popularity is organic. There are a lot of people who legitimately like John Cena, and so even people who don't like John Cena, and there are plenty of those people, like, can at least tolerate John Cena, because it's like, yeah, people like him. He's good at what he does, and he's got, like, he's a legitimate star that kind of got people on his side on his terms. Whereas Roman Reigns, the general perception of why people don't like him is because he's kind of viewed as this guy that, like, WWE, the corporation, likes, and so they keep pushing him on TV, even though no one really likes him.
Well,
in the audience.
And we'll wrap it up with this, Zach, before you fall asleep. With Reigns, my impression is that he's got the look, he's got everything that you would want, but even me, distant fan, not even anywhere near knowing what's going on, can tell this guy's a total creation. That he's not anything that came along organically, like you said. Like, he was totally propped up by the WWE.
Dude is The Rock's cousin, like, legitimately The Rock's cousin, and he's got a good look to him, and WWE saw him and was like, you know, you're related to The Rock, you look like a big star, so we're going to make you a big star, and that's all there is to it. And this isn't the first time they've done that. They've done this before. And they always seem to do this whenever their legitimate big star retires. Like, you've got the big star like Hogan, and then after Hogan was Austin, and then after Austin was Cena. But, like, these guys didn't immediately follow the previous one. Like, there were always kind of wilderness years in between where they were trying to figure out what to do, and they would always just desperately try to push a manufactured creation. It happened in between Hogan and Austin. It happened between Austin and Cena. And now Cena is on the way out himself. He's going to be retiring soon. And so we're kind of in that in-between period where the newest big legitimate star has yet to come around. And because they don't know who that is, they're doing what they did with Lex Luger in, like, 95 and trying to or 96, I mean, and, like, trying to manufacture a top star. It's nothing new. This is just how it works.
Well,
honestly.
I just I hate seeing Taker still wrestle because he's just not that great anymore. I mean, he's still a great character and all, but he's nothing what he used to be. But anyway.
No, well, I'm hoping I'm hoping he and John Cena, have a good outing, and hopefully it's in such a way that it leaves everyone happy, and that'll be that.
All right. So anyway, you still with us, Zach?
Yep.
Okay. So
I put myself on mute so I could snack and browse the internet while you guys did your thing.
Shall we mourn the losses from the Glorious Tournament of Victory real quick?
Sure.
We had a couple of crushing upsets. I think they were upsets anyway. The round of 16 in the GTOV. Which, I'm just going to come right out and say it. I don't know what the fuck you people are thinking sometimes. I just don't get it.
Okay, you know what? This is just we should come to terms with the fact that we will never understand how the voting works. Like there's no rhyme, there's no reason, there are no rules, there's no consistency. It just is what it is.
I suppose. I just we lost. I could take losing one or the other, but we lost Left Shark and Salsa in the same round. Come on.
Same round.
Yeah,
no, that was my thought too. It was like, I know one of them is going to lose eventually.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe even both. And my field was strong. We talked about this at the beginning. It was a strong field. Some tough ones were going to go, but we ended up getting chalk. My 1 through 4 were all there, and once we got to this point, I wasn't going to be happy with whoever got knocked out. But you know, we try not to play favorites here, but we have our favorites.
Mm-hmm.
And for sure, Salsa and Left Shark were two of my favorites from over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And to see them both go down in one round, like you said, is disheartening. Not to say that there's anything wrong with the Moose Leg or BB-8. I love them too.
I'm okay with the Moose Leg moving on, but BB-8 is. I know that you love him, but he's not as strong as the Moose Leg, Left Shark, or Salsa. Sorry.
Especially for BB-8 to defeat Left Shark, that's the one where kind of
that's just a huge upset. I can't even begin with that one. I don't know how that happened.
The cult of Left Shark was strong.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems that it might have waned, inexplicably so.
I would have also figured, BB-8 would be fighting a lot of that Last Jedi backlash.
Sure.
Like I'm honestly shocked BB-8 got as far as he did. Like, I don't think he got this far in his first outing. Oh, did he?
He made it to the Final Four in his year.
Interesting.
Thankfully taking down the King Cake Baby. But he had a strong run the last time around. There's no doubt about it. But in the history of this tournament, there was no one that had a longer impact than Left Shark. Left Shark didn't even win, but he was still someone that was constantly brought up, from this tournament. So I thought that would give him the extra legs to get through to at least this egregious 8. But here we are.
Well,
Sans, Left Shark, and Salsa.
Yeah, and we had Ancient Aliens guy, Giorgio Tsoukalos. Yeah, I got it on my own that time. He went down to defeat, but I think it was a good loss. He lost to the Wrestle Manitoba goalie Beer Thief.
I mean, that's a case where, again, I love the Wrestle Manitoba Beer Thief, but I've got a special place in my heart for Giorgio Tsoukalos, and I don't think that
the ancient astronaut theory suggests
I'm ever going to truly be okay with how that turned out. But that being said, wow, give it up to the rural Manitoba division, because Jesus, man,
huge props. Look, Russell Manitoba goalie Beer Thief, I gotta say, I think if there's someone of our brackets that you want to peg as a dark horse contender to take the whole damn thing, might be Russell Manitoba Beer Thief.
I agree. I think we're seeing something that's maybe a little bit reminiscent of Minch on the Bench's run last year. Just kept getting stronger as the tournament went on.
The big thing is that he's going up against Cosmic Turtle now, and that could be interesting. That's
another example of why the tournament this year is the way we did it this year, because look at some of these matchups we're getting. By the way, Cosmic Turtle finally put away Nike Speak with very little difficulty. Final was 17-10. People,
what?
The scores have been out, so we don't need to go over scores and stuff. Everybody already knows, but
I gotta say, I'm gonna echo what friend of the show, LMU Dennis, said, which is if only that Titans unveiling had just happened a few days earlier, Nike Speak might have had a chance.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that. We will get. I don't want to jump the gun. We're not going to. We'll get to the Titans in a bit. But I just wanted to say there was some prime Nike speak on display, and you know what? Who knows? Maybe, just maybe, if that Titans reveal was a half a week earlier, it might have been different.
Yeah,
but,
we now have the what are we calling them? The Tennessee Argo Titans or the Titan Knots, or what are we going to go with?
We'll get to that, but I have mixed feelings about the Toronto Argonauts becoming a NFL team, but we'll deal with that.
But anyway, yeah. So other than that, I mean, a little bit surprised that the Shameless Hobo got past Wolverine driving an '83 Plymouth Caravelle, but okay.
Yeah.
Mother Russia is going to be a problem in this tournament, I think. Mother Russia's another, I don't even know if you call it a dark horse. As a 12 seed, I guess you kind of have to, but Mother Russia's kicking butt. And the Russian dash cam takes out Detroit, and that was pretty much for that round. But then we now have the final scores are in from the Egregious 8, if you guys want to go over those really quick.
Yes, okay. Please.
Let me load them up here.
These are these are the big ones to select our final four.
Yeah, because the final four, this we will know who's going to be doing what here. So let me get to the scores here. We'll just start right at the top of the actual survey. Wait a minute. Yeah, that's right. So Shameless. What was I just looking at? Hold on a second. I might be confused here. Right, okay, we're good. So Shameless Hobo with Shotgun Diarrhea moves on to take on Mother Russia in the Egregious 8, and we have a final in this one. Any guesses, guys?
Mother Russia, like you said, has been so strong. I don't think you can go against it right now, at least from a picking standpoint.
Indeed.
Correct. Mother Russia moves on to the Final Four with a 19-6 win over the Shameless Hobo. So Mother Russia in it. Mother Russia is going to be a tough out in this thing, I think. Up next, we have the Sacred Moose Leg of Flin Flon, Manitoba from the, what is it, Mike? The Eastern?
The regional Manitoba.
The rural Manitoba Conference.
All right.
Yeah.
Taking on BB-8 Thumbs Up Lighter. Any predictions?
I gotta go.
Yeah.
I gotta go for Moose Leg. I don't know. I gotta believe in the Moose Leg.
Agree. I like BB-8, but Moose Leg is the type of entry of this tournament that deserves to move on. Probably.
Moose Leg, no trouble at all with BB-8 Thumbs Up Lighter. A 16-9 win. Absolutely just cruised all the way through. So you've now got the Sacred Moose Leg of Flin Flon, Manitoba, our second Final Four participant. Up next, from the Doug Peterson knows what it means to be a Cleveland Brown region, KFC statue in a river in Japan taking on another strong candidate, Russian dash cam.
KFC statue.
I gotta go. Yeah, KFC statue.
See, I would have gone with the Russian dash cam, but you guys are right. The statue in a walk, 18-7, no trouble at all with the Russian dash cam. I really thought the Russian dash cam had a little bit of that Mother Russia magic going with it, and I guess not. So the KFC statue in a river in Japan makes the Final Four in its second time through in the tournament here, so that's pretty good, I guess. And finally, in the Sentinel Prime Memorial Region of Excellence, we had number 3 seed Russell, Manitoba goalie Beer Thief taking on number 13 seed and perennial favorite Cosmic Turtle.
This is the tough one for me. Like
this is a case where I kind of feel like you felt last round, Zach, where I don't want to see any of my children die.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that either one of them has to go home, but that's the way it works.
I think either one could win the whole thing, but I just a minute ago I said how much I've been on the goalie Beer Thief bandwagon. I think I got to stick with him here.
Mike?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I gotta go with I'm gonna go with the Beer Thief. I'm going for an upset.
Well, I hate to break it to you guys, but Cosmic Turtle takes this one 14-11. The goalie put up a good fight. Goalie Beer Thief put up a good fight, but Cosmic Turtle, maybe trying to avenge his loss a couple years ago, going to the Final Four again. So, if I remember right now, I got to remember how we do the matchups because we alternate every year. And last year, Mike and I made the championship round, so that means we play each other this year in the Final Four, I believe. So,
Okay.
And the first match in the Final Four, it will be, if I've got this right, KFC statue in a river in Japan, number 1 seed, taking on number 13 seed Cosmic Turtle. And in the other Final Four matchup, and don't quote me on these because I have to go back and make sure we've got the rotation correctly. This might be wrong, but I think I got it right. In the other matchup, it will be Mother Russia, number 12 seed, taking on the number 2 seed, Sacred Moose Leg of Flin Flon, Manitoba. That's your Final Four in the Glorious Tournament of Victory. That's brutal.
Yeah.
That is just brutal. The weakest of the 4, I think, is the KFC statue, and that's a damn good entry. And that's the weakest of the 4 of our Final Four this year. That's the kind of tournament we've produced this year, guys. So
yeah, no, this was a great idea. It let us relive some memories with some old favorites. Strengthen some bonds, and it makes some more legends.
Indeed.
So that's what it is. We will have a championship match. We'll open the voting. Of course, it'll be open by the time you hear this, but the voting will be open, and we'll roll on through. And we should have a champion by the next show, I would think. So there you go.
That would be the plan.
The 2018 Glorious Tournament of Victory down to the Final Four. Once again, it will be number 12 seed Mother Russia taking on number 2 seed the Sacred Moose Leg of Flin Flon, Manitoba. And in the other bracket, or the other side, number 1 seed KFC Statue in a River in Japan taking on 13 seed Cosmic Turtle.
Two double-digit seeds and only one number 1 seed.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
I gotta tell you, if Cosmic Turtle loses to the statue, I'll be amazed. But you never know. So there you go. Cue the gong. I don't even know what to say about it. It's just, first off, I thought it was a completely unnecessary change. It was not needed.
Mm-hmm.
If you had any problem at all with the Titans uniforms, I had. The only one were just the little horn stripes on the helmet. That's the only real issue I had with that.
I didn't mind those.
I didn't even mind those. My only problem with the old Titans look were the numbers. I thought the numbers were a tad early 2000s, and like if you had just replaced those with like a nice block or maybe a nice custom font, definitely not the font that we got here, but just a new font, I think really would have helped the old Titans uniforms. That's all they really needed.
Yeah, I would have liked them to use the Columbia blue a little bit more.
Right.
Wear those jerseys more, but the problem with the Titans jerseys was not that they were lacking silver.
Or no, 2 shades of silver. Nike in their ongoing.
Oh
quest.
my God! I didn't even notice that. Look at that shit.
Yeah, you didn't notice that?
Oh my God!
2 shades, and not only Nike. You know why it is that way, right?
Right, because they're swords.
Yeah, it's the sword, the shading on the sword. So Nike found a perfect opportunity in their never-ending quest to stick as many shades of gray into every uniform as possible.
Yeah, and I just want to go back real quick, too. The horns on the helmet, I don't have a problem with them. It's just the only thing I would have changed. And it's not like it was this horrible thing. They were fine, too, but I thought they had a really good look. Was it top 5 NFL? I don't know. Maybe in some people's minds it was, but it was certainly a whole hell of a lot better than this. A whole lot better. Unbelievable.
So for those that haven't seen them, just some general overview of what these things look like. The Tennessee Titans white helmet is now navy blue with a gray face mask. The logo is the same, and they have a thin white
silver.
Silver? Is it silver?
It's silver, yes.
Silver stripe that goes up the middle and comes to a point at the front. Jerseys are navy blue, white, and Columbia blue with these stupid silver swords on the shoulders coming out from the neck down to the point of the sleeves.
And
the Nike swooshes are red.
The only red bits on the entire uniform, by the way, are the red Nike swooshes.
And doesn't it piss you off that when they were doing the teases, they actually showed those swooshes as perhaps a indicator that there was going to be a lot of red in the uniform, and it turns out that's all of it, other than in the logo on the helmet?
And then they now have their own proprietary fonts,
Which is stupid.
is garbage.
It's
a garbage font.
But it represents the people of Tennessee.
Yeah, there's a little notch in the corner. You know who else has a notch in the corner of their numbers? The Anaheim Ducks. And come on.
Not only that, but because they only wanted the notches on the right side of the numbers to indicate progress.
What?
Progress, and it's also based on the map of Tennessee because they have that little jut off on the eastern border.
And because of that, they the ones look backwards.
Oh.
Because the one should have the little notch on the left side.
So do we have some glorious Nike speak to go over with this thing?
Oh, we do.
All right.
Oh, there's more than a few. Yeah. Well, here's some quotes from the general manager. I think if I had to describe the uniforms in just one word, I would say fierce. That's the type of football team we want to be.
The Tennessee Titans, the team that got bitch slapped by the New England Patriots in the playoffs, is fierce. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and I forgot to mention because I didn't see it in the picture. There are underarm panels. They don't go down the whole side. I wouldn't call them side panels.
Yeah.
They just.
One more thing before we get into the Nike speak. In addition to the side panels, so you'll notice that on the pants there is the Titans logo above the shards of gray that are supposed to represent sword sheaths on the pants.
Is that what they are?
That is what they are. Yes.
No.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that in the Nike speak. But anyway, you might see the logo is above the striping. Now, I don't know if this is just a mistake, but someone posted a video of the unveiling on Twitter. It was just a brief clip, but it had one of the players in frame turning around, and the logo was only on one hip, not on the other hip. And again, I don't know if that's a mistake or if that's just a stupid Nike thing they decided arbitrarily, but
I'm trying to see. I think that's how it was the unveiling, yeah.
Oh, also, before we move on to the Nike speak, we mentioned the notches and the numbers that are supposed to be reminiscent of the state of Tennessee.
Right.
Those notches don't exist on the TV numbers on the shoulders.
They don't. That's correct.
Okay. If you saw this number, let's just say that they just released the uniforms without comment, all right? And you saw the number font. I defy anyone to tell me they would have said, that reminds me of Tennessee. No one would have said that. No one.
No.
Not a person. Just stupid. I mean, sure, when you look at it now, you go, well, I suppose, but God.
No, legitimately. I want to take a step back from these.
Okay.
And if I were to tell you, hey, Mike.
Yes.
I'm gonna show you a football uniform. It's gonna be predominantly navy blue with light blue and silver accents. They will have a navy blue helmet. There will be a slight Greek theme to the uniforms.
Yes.
And the letter T will be prominently featured. What football team would I be talking to you about?
The Toronto Argonauts.
Now that once you said it a second ago, a minute ago when we first talked about it, that's all I can see now.
Yeah,
they're the Tennessee Argonauts.
Yeah,
they're the Toronto Titans. It's absurd. There's already a football team that looks exactly like you.
This I forget who it was, and I'm sorry if you're listening. It was in the deluge of posts that followed the unveiling, but someone on the CCSLC forums said it best. This looks like the Toronto Argonauts and the Scottish Claymores of NFL Europe had a love child.
Yeah, no, if the logos were different and you put Argonauts branding on here, I would say that, oh yeah, sure, the Argonauts unveiled a new uniform set, because it doesn't seem that much different aside from the red Nike swooshes. I don't know, man. Like, this was one of those that was so unnecessary, and now that it's in practice, it is even more unnecessary than I could have imagined. Sure, we're not going to confuse them with the Texans, that's for sure.
No, that's not. I don't know why the guy even thought that was a possibility.
This is like, it's one thing to have like the Edmonton Eskimos, borrow from the Packers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's a completely flipped other way when you have an NFL franchise borrowing from a CFL franchise. No disrespect, Canada, but
hey, now the Grey Cup is consistently ranked as the single most watched sporting event in Canada. Just going to put that out there.
I don't even have a problem. Look, I think what the Eskimos did, regardless of which league is bigger, whatever, blah blah blah. Yeah, the Eskimos basically are inspired by the Packers, but they did a good job with it. I thought. At least the version of the Eskimos uniforms that I think are a very solid look. I think the Argos look a hell of a lot better than this. Like if you're gonna rip us off, at least make it look good. And that's where they lose me.
I mean, at least when the Argonauts incorporate gray, they don't do two-tone gray. Like
it's not even that it's like a metallic shade that's shimmering.
Mm-hmm.
It looks really bad in these close-ups.
Well, it's because everything's flat now with Nike, right?
Right. It's not like if it was shiny fabric, I could maybe deal with it, but it's just a dark gray fabric next to a lighter gray fabric. It looks really bad. I don't know. This
was just it was an unnecessary change that I forget, I think it was on Facebook. I'm part of a group called like UniWatch fans or whatever. And this guy posed the question. He said, when was the last time an NFL team changed its look outside of doing a throwback, changed its look and actually came out better on the other side?
Mm-hmm.
And I can only think of two, Minnesota and Buffalo, where they weren't straight up like San Francisco, of course, too, because it depends. The old uniform wasn't bad. But they went straight to their old, they just went straight back to what they used to wear. But I'm talking like
and they even screwed those ones up. They even screwed that up with the diagonal stripes.
But you know what I'm saying though, like literally a new design from the previous one, not just going like a throwback thing like the Niners did.
Well, if you're saying like not going back, I don't even think you can count Buffalo and Minnesota because they're not straight throwbacks, but they're heavily inspired by
right. I think Buffalo even more so. Yeah,
I would say like the last time a team completely reinvented their look and it was actually good would probably be the late '90s when the Buccaneers went to the look that they would win the Super Bowl in.
Yeah.
Like, because that was very well received and
that was a fantastic uniform. But that's the thing though. The question, I guess, basically what the
Arizona updated their logo, but the jerseys got worse.
Yeah. With the Bucks, I guess it all depends on how you look at it. I mean, some people, like I thought they had a good uniform and they went to another good uniform. Of the two, I preferred the pewter and the red and all that. But it wasn't like say what Buffalo did, where they had those horrific, like 4 different shades of blue, the nickel, the whole bit, and went to something that was based on the the 70s era uniform.
Incidentally, this Titans uniform actually has more color than that 2002-2010 Bills look.
Really?
Because this uses 2 shades of gray, which puts it one over. That Bills look had nickel, navy, royal blue, red, and white. So that's 5. Here, Titans have Columbia blue, navy, red, white, light gray, dark gray. 6.
Do we have names for the grays? Do we have a wolf gray situation?
I don't think they've named the grays. They're just calling it we'll get to the Nike speak, but they're calling the gray silver, which it's fucking not.
No.
But they're calling it silver, and they're claiming that it was forged in silver.
Yeah, I'm seeing that on all these little elements. Yeah, let's go to some of these official explanations.
Why do you do the two-tone thing on the quote-unquote sword thing on the sleeves?
Because like when you see a sword and it has like the bevel, and so one side is shaded and the other side is bright.
Yeah, that's a sword. This is a patch on a sleeve. I mean, I know what it's supposed to be.
Nike doesn't know that.
So here we have. We're going to start with the helmet. Official Nike explanations. Metallic navy shell and satin finish. All right.
Yeah. By the way, with the thing that they're showing here, the navy helmet with the light blue jersey looks like garbage.
It does.
That's all. That's a bad combo, but continue.
Metallic silver face mask.
Whatever.
Logo. Okay, here's the first bit of Nike speak.
This one's great.
Logo decal now has a silver outline. Fireball logo inspired by Prometheus.
Was this the Titans explanation beforehand, or is this new?
I wasn't following this stuff when the Titans unveiled it, but this is the first I've ever heard about Prometheus, like in relation.
No, I think that
I gotta think that's new.
When they switched
no
from the
way
old
that was the idea.
When they went from the Tennessee Oilers to the Tennessee Titans, I don't think they explained it other than to say we wanted a new identity because first off, we're in Tennessee, not a lot of whole oil wells and stuff here. And secondly, we wanted to know our own identity, but that was about the end of it. If there was any explanation for the fireball, it was probably because we thought it looked cool. Because that's how they did things back then.
Yeah.
Inspired by Prometheus.
God.
And also the silver outline looks horrible because it adds just another fucking outline to a logo that's already got two, but whatever.
Yeah, that's not good either.
Sword-inspired center stripe tapers at the back of starts at the back of the helmet and tapers towards the front.
We took our stripes from last year and flipped it around, is what they did.
All silver elements tie the forged in silver concept together.
Is silver a big deal in the state of Tennessee? Because as far as I know, Nevada is the silver state.
I don't know.
Like, this would make sense if they were the Las Vegas Titans, because we do this whole silver state.
So I just looked it up out of curiosity. The Wikipedia page for silver mining in the United States doesn't even have an entry for Tennessee.
Okay, good. So they're just doing this. This is one of those things just cause.
Yes. Yes. And forged in silver, like, as far as I know, silver isn't particularly relevant to Greek mythology. Like,
it wasn't particularly relevant to the Tennessee Titans.
No, like this whole silver thing came out of nowhere. It was like never used.
I guarantee it's some like a roundabout way of referencing the Lombardi Trophy.
Wait a minute. I got to back up for a second here.
Yeah.
Okay. Aren't Titans like more powerful than gods?
There's
in mythology or something like that.
On the level.
So there's no difference between a Titan and a god in Greek mythology. The Titans were just a group of gods that fought another group of gods.
Okay.
There was basically a civil war amongst the Greek gods, and those that sided against Zeus were the Titans.
Okay.
So, like, they're not any stronger or weaker. They're gods, basically. They are gods.
My knowledge of Titans comes from the animated film Hercules. So,
I mean, they always are depicted with swords in like.
Okay, I was just curious.
It's fantasy and mythology. People sword fight in those kind of stories, so I guess it's fine. All right, moving to the jersey. The sword has become the dominant design element on the shoulders.
Oh, God.
Yeah, well, it's a football jersey. It's really the only place you can put a design element.
3 stars in the back of the neck represent the 3 stars in the Tennessee state flag.
Oh, is that? Oh, no, this is hanger effect.
Hanger effect.
Hanger effect.
Yeah, hanger effect has come to the NFL. This is great.
What was once exclusively the domain of the NHL.
Another great NHL idea stolen by a bigger league.
Hanger effect. Jesus.
Here we are.
Fucking hanger effect. Custom designed number font inspired by angular stone carved lettering.
Between the Buccaneer carvings and these things, at least these are. Are these stone carved numbers?
I don't know, but you would think in 2018.
Also, like, all right. I'm trying to process. Admittedly, so yeah, Greek letter, the Greek alphabet, is angular, but it doesn't have to be. For example, cursive Greek is round, as cursive tends to be. But, like, I don't know. Like, all right. I'm going to send you guys a picture of some art. It's an artifact from ancient Greece. It's just Greek text carved into a stone. Do these numbers anyway look representative of this? Because I'm not seeing it. Like, do you see, like, this? Do you see, carvings in stone in ancient Greece and go, oh, yeah, those are the new Titans numbers? I'm not. I'm having trouble, but...
Yeah, not so much. Not so much.
All right. The angled flag on the top right edge of numbers nods to the shape of the state of Tennessee.
Oh,
yeah, whatever. We've gone over that. It's stupid.
Nike swooshes add red to the overall design to make the color palette pop.
No, it doesn't. Those are the only place that red is besides the NFL shield. What are you talking about?
Oh.
So I want to talk about briefly a phenomenon that has occurred since Nike took over. The Seahawks enclosed a lime green Nike swoosh, in a very prominent shape on the shoulders.
Right.
And the Vikings, the curved nature of the stripes actually frames the Nike swoosh on the sleeve. So Nike, they're just flat out finding ways to make their logo the most prominent element on the uniform.
Yeah.
I'm just so fucking sick of this. I really am.
Titan Blue alternate uniform can be worn twice per season as well as Color Rush games. So I guess the Columbia Blue will be broken out for Color Rush. So
I'm just tired of it. It's just like,
no, we're not done. We're not done.
I know.
Moving on to the pants. Sword sheath inspired design becomes the stripe on the pants and is angled much like a sheath would hang.
What about this is sheath inspired?
I don't know. I legitimately don't know.
It's the same crap from your shoulders that you decided to put a swatch of halfway down the pant leg. Like, it's...
You dare question, Zach?
Hold on. Is that stripe only on one side of the legs?
No, it's on both sides.
Okay. Then that's really stupid.
We do have another red swoosh on the pants there.
Yeah, red swoosh and the one Titan logo, the Fireball logo. It says it's on the left and right hip, but like you said, Mike,
the picture I'm looking at, I'm on the Tennessean.com page for the uniforms, and I'm looking at a view of a player from the left, and there's no Titans logo on the left side of the pants.
I don't know if that's just a mistake or if that's just how it's going to be. So.
I'm just so tired. We got more Nike speak before I?
No, that's it. That's it. Although again, I want to reiterate that the numbers on the TV numbers on the shoulders don't have that little notch, meaning that once again, Nike's designed a uniform where the shoulder numbers and the front and back numbers do not match.
Aren't you just tired of this? Just this utter bullshit that they spew out when they do a new uniform. It's just, it's aggravating. It's insulting.
Forged in the fires of silver of Prometheus with the Greek base. Alchemy must have been used.
Yeah, double stitching what was the Browns and the stitching? It was like
the contrast stitching represents the craftsmanship of Cleveland.
Yeah, right.
Which, by the way, a quick diversion to that. Apparently, the Browns hate them. Like the players hate them because the contrasting stitching is like irritating when you actually wear the jerseys. So good job.
Well, yeah. I mean, let's put a pin in that because there's actually some Browns news and some other things too that we got to get to yet. But yeah, as I said at the top, this is one of the most unnecessary changes I've ever seen. This is like a Tampa Bay. I don't know if the uniforms are quite as bad as Tampa Bay's new uniforms. I don't think they are. They're bad, but Tampa Bay, that was a whole different level of bad. But it was just so completely unnecessary. The Titans had. If they would just have stuck to a more consistent combo setup where maybe you do the blue over white, the Columbia blue over white, stay away from the mono, and just kind of like make it a little more traditional as far as the combos you wear, it was a great set. I mean,
honestly, you know what? What's the biggest problem with this to me when going from that old set to this new one? The white helmet. Honestly, if there's a white helmet on these things, I think it's a little bit more. It's a little easier to stomach.
It helps.
Yeah, you can poke at the Nike speak all you want, but the navy blue helmet just it really kind of dulls down the whole thing.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's the thing that really enforces the Argonauts thing to me is the navy blue helmet.
Yeah, I think that I mean, they've got a good color scheme, but that number font is beyond stupid. Another question I have: where did we make the change where we decided that the uniforms had to be literal interpretations of the team name? It's the Titans, so we have to have a sword and a sheath for the sword and all that nonsense. Why can't you just go, these are our colors and this is what we wear? It drives me nuts. Why did it have to become literal? Why do we have to have the teeth or whatever, the Husky thing we always make fun of?
the iconic teeth of Husky Stadium.
Right. Why?
Yeah. By the way, am I looking at these mock-ups for the NFL store right? Are the numbers different on the front and the back of the jersey?
Oh, I would be a bit surprised. They look like they're thicker on the front, but maybe that's just my imagination.
They look a little like they're more stretched out on the back.
Yeah.
Jesus, yeah.
I hope that's just a bad Photoshop because like you look at the numbers look different from each style of jersey. The $150 one versus the $100 one.
It's not unusual for.
I hope it's just a bad Photoshop thing.
It's not unusual for like the back numbers to be bigger than the front numbers and just in size, but like a font difference or like thicker lines and stuff that's bad. But I thought the front ones looked like they were like the 8 especially looks a lot thicker on the front. I think than. I'm looking at another picture of a guy 99 on the back, and those 99s are much thinner than the 8 is on the front of Mariota's jersey. That makes sense.
And these armpit patches are bad.
Yeah,
like they look bad on the normal uniform. They really stick out on these replicas.
Well, what was the point of those? I'm sure we had an explanation for them.
They didn't give an explanation for them.
So they're just there.
I'm just going to assume that they couldn't think of a way to incorporate like Columbia blue any other way, so they just decided to color the armpits.
Okay.
Like that wouldn't surprise me if that were the case.
But I mean, is there anything we like about these?
Honestly, like no.
I can't come up with anything.
It's inferior to the previous look in almost every way, and I'm not even that big a fan of the previous look because I'm generally not a fan of the previous look's number font, and I would have liked to have seen that changed.
And that double gray is so bad.
Yeah,
it really is. And again, Nike finding a way to fit gray into like everything.
I think that's the thing. The helmet and the double gray are the things I just cannot get over.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are either of you satisfied with at least the helmet part?
No, I don't like that. Okay, I don't like the helmet because one, it's got like the double gray in the tapered striping, and if they're going to have the tapered striping, I'd rather it start the front than the back. And additionally, like I said, the Titans logo, like that logo already has 2 outlines, and they've just added a third silver outline, which actually strikes me as a really outdated thing to do. Like that seems like something that would have happened in like the 2000s as an attempt to like make it look more modern. It's like, oh, well, just because teams were putting silver outlines around everything back then. And so.
Yeah, I remember the Indians did silver around their lettering and stuff on their jerseys. Yeah.
And the Buffalo Sabres currently have a silver, they're still wearing uniforms from back then with the silver outline around everything. So I don't even like the helmets. Honestly, there's nothing here that I would say is an improvement over anything. But Greg, you asked why everything has to be so literal, and I think I have an answer for you.
Okay.
It's because we now are at the mercy of professional designers who, with degrees from places like Full Sail University, who who need to justify their brand speak with pseudo-intellectual drivel, and that's why we are where we are.
Yeah, I can see that, because Full Sail is a very difficult school to get into. It really is. The hardest part is coming up with the check. That's the tough part. After that, you're pretty much home free. You're right, Mike. I mean, that's a lot of what it is. It's like a bunch of ego, I think. And you know what gets me is that this guy that designed this, he's done 3 uniforms. He did the Jags, not the new set, but the one before with the two-tone helmet, the new Browns, and now this. My question is, how did this guy keep his fucking job?
Especially considering the Browns are ditching theirs. So.
Yeah, I mean, he is a huge 0 for 3 with like 3 struck out looking.
The Jags are ditching theirs.
Yeah.
Like...
and I don't understand this. I mean, I don't know. I just wish that, like the Packers or the Rams. Well, I mean the Rams, they got the ram horn, so obviously there is some literal stuff there. But that's all they got. Because it's a cool helmet look, and you go, that's neat. Put the ram horns on the helmet. That's a cool idea. They did the shoulder thing, but there's not they don't have hooves on their cleats because Rams have hooves. You know what I mean? It just drives me nuts, this bullshit. It's like, just put together a nice looking uniform and fuck whatever the inspiration was for. Who cares? Prometheus, kiss my ass. They can all go fuck right off. It just aggravates the hell out of me.
The Prometheus part is pretty bad too.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
Because it's one of those things, we've had this before where it's like, this is an element that's been part of the jersey or the package forever, but Nike's like, well, this is the thing from the fires of Mount Doom. Like, what?
the fires of Mount Doom.
Like,
come on, guys. Like, no, it's not.
If we named this, if the show had titles, that would be the title of this week's show. The Fires of Mount Doom.
So,
remember all the bullshit that they put out with the Devils?
Oh, yeah, like this represents the red collar represents the Kansas City Scouts. Really?
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. All you did was remove the hem stripe and kind of move things around. Like, none of this is inspired by anything. It's just a design element that you wanted to go retroactively, give it something where it didn't have it or need it or.
The best part about it was, and this wasn't Nike, admittedly, but this bullshit is prevalent through all 3 major companies.
It's Nike's fault, and now everyone else has to do it.
Oh yeah, but it's Under Armour. When Under Armour came out with their admittedly very nice UCLA uniforms that kind of went back to a very retro look for them.
Right. Okay. Yeah. This is exactly what we're talking about.
And it's like, the classic triple stripe, right? They're like, this represents
the UCLA stripe that has been on UCLA's uniforms since the dawn of time, just because it was there.
And they're like, no, the 3 stripes represent the 3 values of the university. It's like, bullshit. No,
it has never once represented that, but you now want to ascribe these things to it.
Right.
It's like, get out of here.
Sometime in the 30s, some guy was put in charge of making football uniforms for the UCLA Bruins, and he's like, well, I took a powder blue shirt, and then I put a white stripe on it, and then a gold stripe, and then another white stripe next to it, and I think that looks pretty sharp.
Yeah, what happened with the Titans was they wanted to change from the Oilers to something else. Mm-hmm. They went with something that was an alliteration. Somebody designed a roundel with a T in it and said, that's okay, but we need something to give it a little bit more. And then somebody from the other side of the room says, what if it was on fire? Yeah. Not because, the Titans were inspired by Prometheus, who discovered fire. Like, no.
Yeah,
it was. That's kind of cool. And now it's inspired by Prometheus. Bullshit, it was.
No, that's what drives me nuts. It's like, okay, first off, you didn't need to change it in the first place. If you're going to change it, just change it and say we changed it because we wanted to change it. And here's what my inspiration for this was: that I thought this was a cool looking font, so I went with it. Or I did the shoulder things like this because I thought it would look neat if we had like a double gray up there. But give me a fucking break with the swords and Prometheus and all the other horse shit. And on the helmet, by the way, too, I think it would look better without the stripe. I'm just saying. Not a lot better, but that would help. But I'm so tired of this. It's like I'm trying to think of other teams, like the 49ers, Mm-hmm. They have regular football uniforms with an SF on the helmet. They don't like have a pickaxe or wear like little, I don't know what those shoulder bags were that they carried the minors. Those aren't incorporated into the jerseys. I mean, come on. It doesn't have to be this literal. The Dolphins don't have fins, for fuck's sake.
Oh, don't give them ideas, Greg.
I know.
The next uniforms are literally going to have a dorsal fin coming out of the back.
God, that'd be awesome. Come on.
So the interesting thing about that is that we've still got a Jags unveiling to go before this whole off-season's uniform.
Oh yeah,
deals are over.
And like I said, there's a little Browns news that I wanted to get to at the end of this. The Browns, I guess, are allowed to make tweaks to the jersey and the pants before the 5-year period is up. So they are seriously talking about dumping the word marks. So you would have
the Rams. You saw the Rams do this with the pants. You can change stuff like that. I don't know if they can actually do anything to the jerseys though, because I think that would be because that's the only thing they sell, right?
Yeah, but I think they could. I think they're allowed to dump the word mark because it doesn't really fundamentally change the look of it. I mean, it's still the same jersey.
Yeah,
but
it's still on the jersey, you know.
But the pants, I'm pretty sure the Browns on the side is gone. We won't be seeing that this year. So, and it was funny. I read an article, I think it was on Cleveland.com, where they basically came out and said these things were a disaster from the start. No one liked them from the get-go. It was a mistake. So, in 2 years, we're going to be doing this all over again with the Browns.
Well, the Browns, what's funny with the Browns is that, well, I had heard that they were that they were dumping the word mark on the pants, but they were inquiring about dropping it from the jerseys.
Okay.
So I think Zach's right. I don't think they're going to let them drop it from the jerseys, but they're definitely making tweaks. And I read an article about this, and it was hilarious because the contrasting stitching that represent the craftsmanship of Cleveland is apparently very uncomfortable to wear. And on top of that, the Browns coaches have trouble reading game tape because the numbers on the Brown jerseys are so difficult to read because it's bright orange on brown. And furthermore, they said that the uniforms they're working on for 2020 are going to be more reflective of their traditional look, which basically is like you just want to go back to what you had before. Like, Zach, you said it best. Just shoot this team into the fucking sun already.
No, seriously. And with the Browns, I said this when we talked about them a couple of weeks ago. Do something new. Like, literally, don't go back to the old Browns because you're not that. You never will be. Stop trying. Just do something new. Try something else. And just, I don't know, use some fucking common sense. I don't know. This shouldn't be that hard.
I think Mike was right when he said it a while ago on the show. We were talking about this, and he said that Nike never goes backwards. So if you're hoping for Browns fans, if you're hoping for a return to the classic Cleveland Browns look, I don't think that's what you're going to get.
Well, see, this is the problem, right? Because they had the classic Cleveland Browns look. They changed it to the current monstrosities. And now they want to go back to something reminiscent of their classic look. But they're not going to be able to do that because Nike doesn't go backwards. So as a result, they're going to end up with a uniform in 2020 that's kind of the old look, but not really. And it's going to be kind of worse. And it's like, well, it's kind of the classic identity. It's not as good, but it's good enough, so we'll just go with it. It's like, if you had just left the old uniforms alone, this wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, and I mean, these changes, I get it. A lot of times you want to increase revenue, maybe just spice things up. Maybe you're just tired of looking at it. I don't know, but if you're going to do it, you've got to be better than what you were before, and no one seems to be able to pull that off. No one. Except like we said earlier, like Buffalo, which was better. Basically, let's be honest about it. It was a throwback uniform. They changed a couple of things, the striping on the helmet and a few things here and there, but it was essentially the uniforms they were wearing in the early 70s. Minnesota, other than the little serifs or whatever that were supposed to represent fucking Viking sails on ships or whatever, other than that, were basically the uniforms they used to wear, lighter shade of purple and all that, but come on. No one seems to be able to just come up with a good new uniform. I can't think of the last one I saw. college or otherwise, you know. Well, I didn't remember. It was UNLV, Nevada. The, what are they called? The Running Rebels about 6 years ago came out with a really nice new football uniform. That's it. It just drives me nuts. You can't leave well enough alone.
Yeah, it's really, really bad.
Really bad. The Toronto,
but, you know,
the Tennessee Titans. Right,
yeah, the Archetypes.
Any more thoughts on the disaster that is the Titans uniforms, guys?
They're terrible.
No.
All right. We'll wrap it up right there, and I'll just let everybody know that you can vote for the Glorious Tournament of Victory Final Four via the Twitter feed at Basically Sports. You can also go to basicallyasportshow.tumblr.com. You can vote on our Facebook page, and, of course, at CCSLC.
Boards.sportslogos.net.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, and YouTube. Find us on Facebook, and we will see you next time.
Adios.
Later.